Mom's mad you're late with the money again. My husband said, sipping his coffee. She doesn't care about your excuses, she wants her money on time. He smirked. But seconds later, his face turned pale with shock. Claire's fingers wrapped around her coffee mug, like it was the only thing keeping her anchored to the kitchen table. Marcus was doing that thing again, talking to her like she was some kind of pet that had peed on the carpet. She couldn't look at him right now, just couldn't. Because if she saw that smirk on his face, she might actually throw her scrambled eggs at his stupid head. And wouldn't that be a mess to clean up? Are you even paying attention? Marcus leaned back in his chair, making that awful squeaking sound. He was wearing his gray suit, the one that made him look like every other insurance salesman in Phoenix, except somehow more punchable. Claire finally lifted her eyes. I'm listening. The morning sun was streaming through their window, showing all those little dust particles floating around. Made her think of snow, except sad snow that couldn't escape. Marcus kept rambling about his precious mother, Dorothy, and her monthly tribute, $400 that came right out of Claire's paycheck from the dental office. 3 years of this nonsense, same song every month. Know what she said to me yesterday? He was stirring sugar into his coffee now, the spoon hitting the sides of the mug. Clink, 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 like a tiny bell announcing her doom. Something icy slithered down Claire's spine. Dorothy Henderson had despised her from minute one. Made no secret of it either. But lately the old bat had gotten nastier, more demanding. She thinks maybe you don't respect her enough to prioritize her needs, Marcus continued, taking a slow sip like he was savoring the moment. Maybe she's onto something. Claire set down her fork with the kind of precision you use when you're trying not to stab someone with it. Her hands were trembling, but not from fear. From something bigger, something that had been growing in her chest for months like a tumor made of rage. The payment goes out today, she said quietly. After work. Make sure it does. Marcus checked that ridiculous gold watch. Looked like something you'd win at a carnival. And Claire, let's not repeat this conversation next month. He stood up, adjusting his tie like he'd just negotiated world peace instead of browbeating his wife over breakfast. Claire watched him swagger around their kitchen, the kitchen she scrubbed, in the house she helped pay for, making breakfast from groceries she bought. When exactly had she become a ghost in her own life? Marcus snatched his briefcase from the counter, leather all cracked and peeling at the edges, probably older than their marriage. He paused in the doorway, giving her that look. The one that might have been pity if it wasn't so obviously disgust. Try not to disappoint her again. Yeah? Mom's running out of patience with your excuses. The front door slammed shut 30 seconds later, leaving Claire alone with the ticking clock and her racing heart. She sat there in the sudden quiet, watching her eggs turn into yellow rubber. Kind of like her marriage, really. Started out fresh and ended up inedible. Her phone was already in her hand, banking app loading. The balance stared back at her like an accusation. Barely enough for Dorothy's ransom, and groceries too. But something stopped her finger before it hit the transfer button. A memory had been eating at her for days now. Last Tuesday at the grocery store, she'd overheard Dorothy talking to Mrs. Chen by the frozen foods. Just casual conversation between neighbors, except it made Claire's blood run cold. "Oh, Marcus is such a wonderful son," Dorothy had been saying, voice all sweet and proud. "Sends me money every month, never forgets, so dependable." Claire had frozen right there in the cereal aisle, box of cornflakes halfway to her cart. Dorothy was taking credit, making it sound like Marcus was the generous one, sacrificing his own paycheck. She'd wanted to march over and set the record straight, tell Mrs. Chen exactly whose bank account those payments came from. But she'd chickened out like always, scurried to check out with her head down and mouth shut. Now, sitting with her phone warm in her palm, that conversation played on repeat in her head, the casual way Dorothy had lied, the proud smile as she painted Marcus as the perfect son. Claire's thumb moved away from the transfer button. Instead, she scrolled through her contacts to a number she hadn't called in months. Jenny, her sister, the family troublemaker who'd warned her about Marcus from day one. The phone rang 3 times before Jenny picked up, voice thick with sleep. She worked nights at Tucson General. "Claire? Christ, what time is it? Sorry, I know it's early. I just need to ask you something." Jenny's tone sharpened instantly. Sisters always know. What'd that husband of yours pull now? Claire looked around her kitchen with fresh eyes. The fancy coffee maker Marcus had insisted they needed. The granite counters she cleaned daily. Family photos on the fridge, mostly Marcus and Dorothy, with Claire squeezed into the corners like an afterthought. Jenny, remember what you told me about Dorothy when we got engaged? Which part? I said a lot about that family, most of it true. About the money, about her being comfortable. Long pause. Claire could practically hear her sister's brain working through the sleep fog. Oh, that. Yeah, Dorothy Henderson's not exactly living on food stamps. Owns that house free and clear. Paid it off years ago with her husband's life insurance. Plus pension from teaching. Plus Social Security. Why? Claire's stomach dropped like a broken elevator. How much you think she pulls in monthly? Hell, I don't know exactly. But enough to live nice without needing handouts from family. Claire, why you asking? The kitchen felt smaller suddenly, walls pressing in. Claire walked to the window, watching Mr. Peterson already out, mowing his lawn at 7 a.m. Some people had their priorities straight. Because I've been sending her $400 every month for 3 years. The silence stretched so long Claire thought the call had died. Jenny? I'm here. Her sister's voice had gone hard as nails. Claire, tell me everything. Tell me everything now. So Claire spilled it all. The monthly payments Marcus claimed were necessary. Dorothy's supposed money troubles. How Marcus made her feel selfish every time she hesitated to send the cash. That manipulative jerk, Jenny snarled when Claire finished. And his mother's no better. They've been running a con on you for years. But why would they? Because they could. Because you let them. The words stung, but Claire knew they were dead on. Listen to me. Don't send that money today. Don't send it ever again. But Marcus will. Marcus will what? Yell at you? Leave you? Maybe that wouldn't be the worst thing. Claire tried to picture Marcus's face when he found out she'd refused the payment. The cold fury in his eyes. That scary, quiet voice he used when really pissed. The silent treatment that could last weeks. But then she thought about Dorothy at the grocery store, bragging about her generous son. 3 years of eating ramen noodles and skipping lunch, wearing clothes until they fell apart, all so some old lady who didn't need it could pocket extra cash. I need proof, Claire said suddenly. Can't just accuse them without being sure. Then get proof. Property records are public. Drive by her house when Marcus isn't around. See how she's really living. Claire was already grabbing her keys. I gotta get to work. But Jenny, will you help me figure this out? Try and stop me. Been waiting 8 years for you to see what that family really is. The dental office was crazy busy that Tuesday. Claire spent the morning with patients and phone calls, but her mind kept drifting to Jenny's words. During lunch break, she sat in her car and pulled up the county website. Dorothy Henderson, 1247 Maple Street, Phoenix, Arizona. The property record loaded like it was underwater. When it finally came up, Claire stared at her phone screen until her eyes watered. House worth over $300,000. Bought in 1,982 for $45,000. Mortgage, paid in full, December 2019. No house payments. Just like Jenny said. Claire kept scrolling. Property taxes. Practically nothing with senior discounts. House inspection showed perfect condition. Her phone buzzed. Did you send Mom's payment yet, Marcus? Claire stared at the text, finger hovering over the keyboard. 3 dots appeared and disappeared as she started typing responses she couldn't send. Finally, we'll handle after work. Not a lie exactly. She'd handle it, just not how he expected. Another text at 5:30. Running late. Won't be home till 8. Take care of Mom's payment first. Perfect. Time to see the truth for herself. The house at 1247 Maple Street knocked the wind right out of Claire's lungs. Not because it was pretty, though it was, with fresh paint and perfect landscaping, but because it screamed money. Lots of it. Brand new windows. Roof that looked like it cost more than Claire made in 6 months. Driveway so smooth you could eat off it. Rose bushes that had definitely seen a professional gardener. Even the mailbox was one of those fancy decorative ones that cost what normal people spent on groceries. Claire parked across the street and watched. Dorothy appeared at the front window, watering plants. She was wearing what looked like a cashmere sweater, nicer than anything Claire owned. That silver sedan in the driveway? The used car Dorothy had bought last year that Marcus mentioned like it was no big deal for someone supposedly living paycheck to paycheck. Her phone rang. Jenny. Well, find anything interesting? I'm looking at her house right now. Claire's voice came out as a whisper. Jenny, this woman isn't struggling, not even close. Figured as much, did some digging myself, called Rita, who works at the school district. Your mother-in-law retired with full benefits in 2018. Her pension alone is bigger than your salary. The pieces clicked together like a jigsaw puzzle from hell. Dorothy didn't need their money. Never had. This was all some sick game, some twisted way to keep control over Marcus and Claire. Gets better? Jenny continued. Rita says Dorothy's been bragging about her devoted daughter-in-law. How you insist on contributing to household expenses because you're so committed to family. Claire felt like she might throw up right there in her car. She tells people I insist on sending money. According to Rita, Dorothy makes it sound like you're practically begging to support her, like it's your idea, your way of showing respect. Claire's knuckles went white, gripping the steering wheel. All those months of peanut butter sandwiches for lunch, all those times telling Marcus they couldn't afford something because money was tight. All those sleepless nights worrying about bills. And Dorothy had been spinning it like Claire was Mother Teresa with a checkbook. I'm done, Claire said, surprising herself with how steady her voice sounded. Not sending another penny. About damn time. But Claire, brace yourself. Marcus isn't gonna take this well. Let him be mad. I'm tired of being the only one sacrificing in this marriage. Claire drove home slow, mind racing faster than her car. She kept thinking about all the guilt trips Marcus had laid on her. How he'd made her feel selfish for hesitating to send money. How he'd painted his mother as this fragile widow barely scraping by. All lies. All manipulation designed to keep Claire in line. Keep her emptying her wallet for a family that saw her as nothing but a convenient ATM. She pulled into the driveway as the sun was setting. Marcus's car wasn't there. Still had time to figure out what she'd say. Inside, the house felt different. Smaller somehow. Like she was seeing it clearly for the first time in years. Claire sat at the kitchen table with her laptop, pulling up bank statements. If she was going to confront Marcus, she wanted ammunition. Every payment to Dorothy, every month they'd struggled because of those payments. The numbers made her sick. $14,400 over 3 years. Money that could have paid off credit cards. Money for savings. Money for clothes that actually fit, or the dental work she'd been putting off. Her phone buzzed. On my way home, please tell me you sent Mom's payment. Claire stared at the message for a long time. Then typed, we need to talk when you get home. Response came fast. About what? Just tell me you sent the money. No, we talk first. 3 dots appeared and disappeared. She could practically see Marcus's confusion, his growing irritation that she wasn't following the script. 20 minutes later, his car hit the driveway. Door slammed. Never good. Heavy footsteps on the porch, like a man expecting to find his wife properly apologetic. Marcus appeared in the kitchen doorway, loosening his tie while checking his phone. Okay, I'm home. What's this about? Bank, screw-up or something? Claire closed her laptop and folded her hands. Sit down, Marcus. Don't need to sit. Just need you to tell me Mom got her money. His voice already had that edge that usually made Claire cave immediately. Not tonight. I didn't send it. Marcus froze, phone halfway to his pocket. What? Didn't send the money. And I'm not going to. The silence stretched like a rubber band about to snap. Marcus's face cycled through confusion, disbelief, then something darker. What do you mean you're not going to? Claire, this isn't funny. Mom's expecting that money. Your mother doesn't need our money, Marcus. Never has. Claire watched her husband's confident expression start cracking around the edges like old paint. What are you talking about? Course she needs it. She's on fixed income. Barely gets by. She owns her house free and clear. Has a pension bigger than my salary. Drives a car newer than ours. Claire's voice stayed level, controlled. Weird how calm she felt. Marcus's face was turning red. Where'd you get that? You been spying on my mother? I did what I should have done 3 years ago. Asked questions. Marcus started pacing, hands balled into fists. Claire recognized the signs. He was working up to one of his cold rages. The kind where he never yelled but somehow made her feel like she was drowning. You don't understand the situation, he said, voice getting dangerously quiet. Mom has expenses you don't know about. Medical bills, house maintenance. Stop lying to me. The words came out sharper than Claire meant, but she didn't take them back. Marcus stopped pacing and stared like she'd just spoken Martian. Excuse me? You heard me. Stop lying. Your mother's been telling people I insist on sending money, that I'm so devoted to family I beg to contribute. She's been making me look like a saint while you make me feel guilty for every dollar. Marcus went from red to pale in about 2 seconds flat, opened and closed his mouth like a fish gasping on dry land. That's not. Mom wouldn't. Your mother's been lying about needing our money, and you helped her do it. 3 years, Marcus. Claire stood up, surprised her legs felt steady. $14,400. Claire, you don't understand. Then explain it. Right now, explain why we've been struggling while your mother lives in a $300,000 house and drives a new car. Marcus went quiet, eyes darting around like he was looking for an exit. When Marcus finally spoke, his voice sounded different, smaller. Mom said. She said it was a test. A test? Claire felt like someone had punched her in the gut. Test of what? Of your commitment to the family. She wanted to see if you'd really put us first, or if you'd be selfish-like. He trailed off. Like your father's second wife? Marcus flinched. Mom never got over Dad remarrying. She said Sharon only cared about his money, never about family. When we got married, she worried you might be the same. The picture was coming together now, and it made Claire's stomach turn. So you decided to test me by making me sacrifice my financial security for 3 years? Wasn't supposed to last this long. Mom kept saying she needed more time to be sure. Claire stared at this man she'd married, really looked at him for maybe the first time in years. The one who'd promised to love and protect her had spent 3 years watching her struggle to pass some twisted test. And you went along with it, she said quietly. Watched me go without. Made me feel guilty every month. And you knew it was all fake. Marcus stepped toward her, hands reaching out. Claire stepped back. Claire, please. I was going to tell you. Gonna end it. But Mom kept saying... Your mother kept saying what? That I hadn't suffered enough? Hadn't proved myself yet? She wanted to be sure you were committed. To our marriage. To the family. By making me choose between my own security and keeping peace? Claire's voice was rising now, control finally cracking. That's not a test, Marcus. That's manipulation. Marcus's face crumpled. For a second, he looked like the guy she'd fallen for. Vulnerable, maybe even sorry. Claire, I know this looks bad, but you gotta understand. Mom's been hurt before. She just wanted to protect me from Dad's mistake. By hurting me instead? Claire shook her head. You hear yourself? Even now, admitting you lied for 3 years, you're still making excuses for her. She's my mother. And I'm your wife, or thought I was. Turns out I'm just some woman you've been testing to see if I'm worthy of your precious family. The kitchen went quiet except for the fridge humming and the neighbor's dog barking somewhere. Claire looked around one more time, at the expensive stuff, the granite counters, the family photos where she always looked out of place. I'm done, she said finally. Words came out calm and clear like she'd been practicing them forever. Done with tests. Done with lies. Done with earning my place in my own marriage. Marcus went white. Claire, don't. We can fix this. I'll talk to Mom. You'll explain what? That your wife figured out the scam? That the test's over because I got wise? Claire grabbed her purse. I'm staying at Jenny's tonight. Tomorrow I'm calling a lawyer. Claire, please, don't do this. I love you. She stopped at the doorway and looked back one last time. Marcus stood by the table in his wrinkled suit, panic and disbelief written all over his face. "If you loved me," she said quietly, "this never would have happened." Claire walked out of the kitchen, out of the house, into the cool evening air. Behind her, Marcus was calling her name, but she didn't look back. For the first time in 3 years, she could breathe. Her phone was already buzzing, probably Marcus trying to call her back, trying to fix what couldn't be fixed with words. She turned it off and kept walking to her car. The street looked different somehow, like she was seeing it through new eyes. Mr. Peterson waved from his porch, where he was reading the paper. Mrs. Garcia's kids were playing hopscotch on the sidewalk. Normal people living normal lives, not playing twisted games with the people they claimed to love. Claire got in her car and started the engine. In the rearview mirror, she could see Marcus standing in their doorway, still calling after her. She put the car in drive and didn't look back again. An hour later, Claire was sitting in Jenny's kitchen with a cup of coffee that actually tasted good, not like the bitter stuff Marcus preferred. Her sister had listened to the whole story without interrupting, just nodding and making those angry sister noises that meant someone was going to pay. "So what now?" Jenny asked, refilling Claire's cup. "Now I figure out how to untangle 8 years of my life." Claire stared into her coffee, like it might have answers. "Lawyer first. Then, I don't know, find a place to live. Figure out who I am when I'm not being tested. You got somewhere to start?" Claire pulled out her phone and turned it back on. 17 missed calls from Marcus, 12 text messages that all said basically the same thing: "Come home, we can fix this. Mom didn't mean it that way." She deleted them all without reading past the first few words. "Yeah," she said, surprising herself with how sure she sounded. "I think I do." Outside, it was getting dark, but for the first time in years, Claire wasn't afraid of what tomorrow might bring.